Sir, you need an urgent operation. How much? It will cost 2 million naira.
Ah! What? 2 million? Doctor, forget it. Just let me go.
But this is bad.
Then let me be. Ehez, is the operation made of gold?
Now, before you judge this man, you need to understand something. Nwafor was not poor. In fact, that was the annoying part. This man had money, real money. He had savings sitting quietly in his account, but you would never know it from the way he behaved. Nwafor treated every naira in his possession like it had been adopted. Spending 1,000 naira gave him the same facial expression other people had when they lost 100,000 naira. And his family knew better than anyone. His children had practically stopped asking him for money. Not because they didn't need it, they simply knew what was coming. Anytime school fees were mentioned, Nwafor's famous solution appeared: go and meet your mother. That was it. No discussion, no negotiation, no how much do you need. Just go and meet your mother. It didn't matter if their mother had already sent them to him. He would send them right back. At this point, the children were basically carrying financial messages from two governments. And Ngozi, his wife, was getting tired. Because Nwafor wasn't only stingy with school fees, he was stingy with food. The money he gave Ngozi for the week's food was so small that sometimes she would stand in the market staring at her purse like she was trying to solve a mathematical equation. Tomatoes, too expensive. Meat, forget it. Fish, uncle, maybe next month. By the time she had finished calculating, even the market women were beginning to feel sorry for her. And somehow, Nwafor would still come home, eat the food and announce, very delicious. My dear, this man could eat food that tasted like punishment and still call it delicious. But Ngozi eventually discovered why. Nwafor had a very dangerous principle: never complain about food, because if he admitted the food was bad, Ngozi might ask him for more money. And that was exactly what he was trying to avoid. So one day, Ngozi decided to test him. She cooked a meal that was honestly questionable. Even she knew it. She put it in front of Nwafor and waited. He took one bite. His face changed for half a second. Just half a second. Then he swallowed and nodded. Delicious. Ngozi almost laughed. She asked again, just to be sure. Do you like it? Very much, he answered. And that was all she needed to hear. From that day, Ngozi stopped wasting good food on Nwafor. She started cooking proper meals for herself and the children. Jollof rice, chicken, fried plantain, all the things Nwafor suddenly remembered he enjoyed. But his own food remained exactly as terrible as the food he had been praising. And the funniest part was, he kept eating it, because his pride would not allow him to accept defeat. One evening, he was halfway through his meal. Then he suddenly smelled something. He stopped. He sniffed. Jollof rice. He sniffed again. Chicken. Then fried plantain. Nwafor followed that smell straight to the bedroom. He opened the door and found Ngozi and the children enjoying a proper meal. He looked at their plates, then at his own, then back at them. What are you people eating? He said. Ngozi calmly continued her food. Food! Nwafor pointed at his plate. And this? Ngozi looked at him. That's the delicious food you like. The children burst out laughing. Nwafor stood there in silence. For once, his own stinginess had betrayed him. But even then, he refused to admit the food was bad. He simply walked away with his plate. Still delicious, he said. And that was Nwafor. This man could survive almost anything as long as he didn't have to spend money. His shoe has been repaired so many times that one of them was practically being held together by faith. His clothes had been washed so often that some of them had forgotten their original color. And if something in the house broke, Nwafor would repair it, not because he was handy, but because Buying a replacement would cost money. One day, the handle of a cooking pot broke. Ngozi told him they needed a new pot. Nwafor looked at the pot, then at her. "Can it still cook?" he asked. "Yes," Ngozi said. "Then why do you want another one?" The woman just walked away. She had learned that sometimes silence was cheaper than arguing with her husband. But Nwafor's stinginess finally went too far. One afternoon, while trying to avoid paying for a motorcycle ride, he decided to walk a long distance under the hot sun. Halfway there, his chest started hurting. He ignored it. He kept walking. Then he collapsed. His family rushed him to the hospital, and after several tests, the doctor came back with the results. Nwafor needed an urgent operation, and that brings us back to where we started.
Sir, you need an urgent operation. How much? It will cost 2 million naira.
What? 2 million? Doctor, forget it. Just let me go.
But this is bad.
Then let me be. Ehez, is the operation made of gold?
This time, Ngozi had had enough. She knew Nwafor had money, not small money either. She had watched him save it for years. So she finally confronted him. "Nwafor, you have money." Nwafor immediately denied it. "What money?" he asked. Ngozi stared at him. "Your savings." "I don't have any savings," he said. The children looked at each other. The doctor looked confused. Ngozi folded her arms. "Should I tell them where you keep it?" Nwafor suddenly became very interested. "Keep what?" he asked. And that was how Ngozi knew she had him. Because a man who supposedly had no money had suddenly become very concerned about the location of money that supposedly didn't exist. She told him he needed to use his savings for the operation. Nwafor refused. He said that he had been saving that money for an emergency. Ngozi looked at him. This was an emergency, but Nwafor still couldn't bring himself to spend it. So Ngozi decided to use a different method. She leaned toward the children and whispered something. Nwafor noticed. "What are you people discussing?" he asked. Ngozi smiled. "Nothing." That nothing immediately made him suspicious. She stood up. Then she calmly announced that since Nwafor didn't want to pay for his treatment, they would simply prepare for his funeral. The children played along, and that was when Nwafor's blood pressure suddenly became the least of everyone's problems. "Funeral?" Ngozi nodded. "Yes." "How much are you people planning to spend?" he asked. Ngozi pretended to think. "Maybe 2 million, she said. Nwafor nearly jumped out of the bed. 2 million for my funeral? The doctor almost dropped his pen. Ngozi calmly nodded. "Yes." Nwafor became furious. "You people want to waste 2 million naira on a dead man. Use the money and save me." But Ngozi smiled. "Ah, so you can spend 2 million to save yourself?" Nwafor froze. The children started laughing. The doctor turned away, trying not to laugh. Nwafor looked around the room. He knew he had been trapped. Finally, he sighed. "Call the doctor." Ngozi smiled. "Why?" she asked. Nwafor reluctantly looked at the doctor. "Tell him to prepare the operation." The children cheered. Ngozi laughed. And just like that, 2 million naira that had been too expensive to save his life suddenly became affordable when the same money was about to be spent on his funeral. The operation went ahead. Nwafor survived. And after he recovered, his family thought maybe, just maybe, he had learned his lesson. They were wrong. Very wrong. Because 3 weeks later, his daughter came to him asking for money for her graduation. Nwafor opened his mouth. Everyone waited. He looked at his wife. Ngozi looked at him back. The children waited. Nwafor sighed and reached into his pocket. He brought out the money. His daughter smiled. "Thank you, Daddy." Nwafor handed it to her reluctantly. Then he muttered, "You people have turned me into a bank," he said. Nwafor smiled. "No, my husband." She picked up her purse. "We just discovered the password," she said. Nwafor frowned. "What password?" Ngozi looked at him. "Funeral." The children burst out laughing. And from that day, whenever Nwafor started acting stingy again, nobody argued with him. They simply mentioned one word, funeral. And somehow, money would appear.
If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and join us for the next one. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next.